On this week's episode of Gambling Feud, as the great John Ronstein says, it is March. We have the March Madness preview show with the recurring guest, Zach Polk. We are talking every single March Madness game. So tune in. You need help filling out a bracket. Me, DJ, and Zach got you covered. It is going to be a great episode. Before we get started, we are very excited to have a sponsor for the first time, a partnership, if you will. And we're very excited to share that with you. So be sure to stay tuned as we announce that result. It's going to be very, very exciting. We got a lot of great stuff ahead at the Coda Sports Gambling Network. We're very excited to share it with you. We're very excited to get with the gambling community more into this partnership with this new company. We're very, very excited for it. We look forward to letting you hear about it. And if you're ready, let's get right to it. Locked and loaded. Let's have a show. Absolutely. And we won't hold you to it. But what if I told you there is a sports betting platform that's legal in 45 different states, including Minnesota? Well, we're very excited. The Coda Sports Gambling Network has partnered with a company called Better Edge. So basically how Better Edge works is, let's say, for example, DJ really likes Iowa -1, and he puts $10 down on it. Polk is like, you know what? I really like Auburn +1, puts $10 on it. Boom. That works as an exchange. So it's not sports gambling. It is a sports marketplace, which makes it's perfectly legal in all states. It also, one thing I like about Better Edge is the lines aren't juiced. Every spread is either -100, +100. So you get a lot of value when you place an order. They have several different competitions like FanDuels. They have Battle Royales. They have Survivor. They have Chasers. And it also incorporates social media. If I want to share a play I got, I just make a memo, I tweet it and I put it out, and all of my followers on Better Edge can see it. It's a marketplace. It's a social media. And like I said, it's legal in all 45 states because it works as an exchange. It is not a sports book, which is one thing I like about Better Edge. DJ, what are your thoughts about Better Edge? I know you've been on the platform about as long as I have. Just overall thoughts that maybe I didn't mention about it.
Yeah, Better Edge really just summarizes everything you want with sports betting. You have it in any state, so that's awesome. You know, you don't have the government telling you what you can and can't do. I love that, hands off. And then on top of it, you're going up against somebody else. You're not going up against the house, you know, so it's a user-to-user base. And then you have the social media aspect of it. You know, it's kind of like a Twitter feed almost on Better Edge of everyone releasing their plays. And then they have the coolest competitions. There's so many different competitions and so many styles. Some are like Battle Royale, Chase the Leader. Like there's so many different types of things you can do on Better Edge. It really has it all. And I think it's kind of the next wave of what sportsbook's going to develop into. You know, I think we're on the first wave of just getting it legal in some states. And Better Edge is kind of the next wave where you're combining Twitter, you're combining the betting aspect, and you're combining like competitions that you see like on ESPN or CBS or all that. Because we have, I don't know if you're going to mention it, but the March Madness bracket, obviously.
Yep.
Is something we can do on there. You can't do that on DraftKings. Like you can't host a contest like that. So Better Edge really does it all. And so, yeah, they're growing. And if you want to get in on the early stages, now is the time. It's a super fun, super convenient app in all states.
Absolutely. No, very well said, DJ. So go to their website, www.betteredge.com, and contact any of the coder cappers for a referral code. And if you use one of the cappers referral codes, you get $20 added to your order as well. You get $20 in your account, which basically we are hosting a March Madness bracket challenge, and we're hosting a March Madness first round betting challenge. So you use one of the referral codes, it puts $20 in your account. You have an entry fee already into that first round betting contest. So again, we love Better Edge. Shout out to Better Edge. We're really excited to work with them and for many competitions down the road. But fellas, if you're ready, let's get right to this betting. All right, let's transition now to the east corner of the bracket. We start off, we got the number 1 seeded Purdue Boilermakers taking on the winner of Texas Southern and Fairleigh Dickinson. That game being played Friday, March 17th at 5:50 p.m. on TNT. Purdue finished the regular season 29-5, 16-5 in the Big Ten. They won the Big Ten regular season and conference tournament to receive the automatic bid. Meanwhile, Texas Southern won the Southwestern Athletic Conference. This is interesting, guys. They won as an 8 seed. They defeated the top-seeded Alcorn State, the 5 seed Alabama A&M, and the 2 seeded Grambling State to get to March Madness. I believe I read they have the worst record of any team to ever play in March Madness with a below 500 14-20 record. Fairleigh Dickinson, on the other hand, they finished regular season 19-15, 10-6 in their conference. They're controversial, though, because Merrimack actually won the regular season and conference tournament in the NEC, but Merrimack is in the Division II transition period and could not be in March Madness. So because they played Fairleigh Dickinson in the championship game, Fairleigh Dickinson got the automatic bid. So Purdue will play the winner of Texas Southern and Fairleigh Dickinson. We don't have a line right now because we're awaiting the result of that playing game. But Polk, what are your thoughts on this game?
It's Purdue. I think everybody thinks it's Purdue. If there is one team as a number one seed that could lose in the first round this year, it is Purdue. They are the team that always seems to play really well in the regular season. I think I talked about it last time I was on the podcast, that they are a team that always seems to be really good in the regular season, and is why I thought Zach Edey could be the lead guy for the Wooden Award. And then they get to the tournament, and I put them in my Final Four, and they lose in the second round of the first round. It seems like it's just like clockwork. This year, I do have them being upset early, but not here against either Texas Southern or FDU. I think both of those teams are just going to be happy to be there if they get to that point, and there's no answer for Zach Edey on their end, I don't think. And I think Purdue will probably win easily. Again, we don't have a line, so but Purdue to move on.
Yeah, Purdue's winning this game. Zach Edey's going to be a nightmare matchup. Saying all of this, I absolutely hate Purdue. I think Purdue is not going to be that good in the tournament. Polk made so many, like I felt it deep when you were like, you think you got Purdue in your Final Four and then they lose I have done that so many times. I'm sick of this Purdue team. Zach Edey, he's not, I don't know. I really don't think he's that good. Like, he's good, but like, he's good because he's 7'5". His foot speed, slowest in the league. Kyle has 3 times the foot speed of this guy.
What are you trying to say here?
I'm saying you're fast compared to Zach Edey, and that's a compliment right there, Kyle. That is a compliment to you, and it's a kind of a slight to Zach Edey, saying he's got slow foot speed. Zach Edey has not attempted a 3-pointer. He has no range. All of his shots come right within the bucket. The main thing I hate about Purdue, their guard play is awful. Their guards are terrible. Like, they don't have good guards, and that is everything in this tournament. You can double Edey. You can do things. Teams are going to attack Edey in ways he's never seen attacked, and that's going to mess them up because that requires their guards to step up. Their guards won't do it. Purdue, my number one bust of a 1 seed. They're going to bust out at some point. I like that Polk said he had them losing early. I love that. I do not like this team, and they'll win, though. They'll win this first game. Congratulations. You beat Texas Southern or Fairleigh Dickinson, whatever the heck. Whatever. I'm sorry if you're a fan of those schools. Whatever. It's Purdue.
Yeah, first of all, for the playing game, I think Texas Southern beats Fairleigh Dickinson. Fairleigh Dickinson doesn't even belong in this tournament. Number one, and Texas Southern, very, very impressive as an 8 seed to get as far as they did, make March Madness. Congratulations to them. But like you guys have alluded to, I think Purdue's going to roll against either one of these teams. I also have them getting upset. I can't remember where I did on my bracket in front of me, but I do have them getting upset early. But I like them in this first round matchup. So I like Purdue in this game, but I don't have them going as far as maybe some other teams do. But before we go on, Polk, how much shorter are you than Zach Edey?
I guess if he's technically 7'4", then I'm about 5 to 6 inches shorter than Zach Edey, which is pretty crazy to think because
Right.
I mean, that guy is just a monster in there. And like DJ said, guard play is a problem. I think they're a Jaden Ivey away from being a serious contender this year.
Oh, you give them Carson Edwards and Jaden Ivey.
Yeah,
this team is unstoppable.
Yeah, and then they're the favorite. They're the Alabama favorite of
literally
of the tournament. But like you said, I say early Purdue out. I looked and it's Sweet 16, which I guess isn't like super early, but for a number 1 seed, I think it's pretty early. So, but in this game, I think it's pretty safe bet to bet Purdue.
Yeah, in this game for sure it is. But they will take on the winner of the 8-9 matchup between the Memphis Tigers and the Florida Atlantic Owls. That game being played Friday, March 17th at 8:20 p.m. Central Time on TNT. Memphis won the American Conference Tournament, defeating Houston, the top seed, in the championship game. Meanwhile, and they finished the regular season 26-8 overall, 13-5 in the American. Meanwhile, Florida Atlantic finished the regular season 31-3 overall, 18-2 in their conference. They won the Conference USA regular season and conference tournament to get the automatic bid. Line right now, we got Memphis -2.5 and an over-under of 151. DJ, start us off for this game.
This is my first beef seeding. Seeding I have beef with. Memphis beat the number 1 seed Houston, and they get an 8 seed. Are you kidding me? Like, this is the first one I have. I have a couple more in the chamber. Don't worry about it. I'm going to bring up some other seeds that I think are bad. I love Memphis here. No disrespect to Florida Atlantic. They had a hell of a season. They're a great team. But Memphis is just in a better conference. They played Houston. I don't know the first matchup. The second matchup, they lost on a buzzer beater. And then the third matchup, they beat them. They actually kind of stomped them a little bit in the tournament championship. I love this Memphis team. I think they're a dangerous 8 seed, and I think they're going to be a problem for Purdue. I could see this being a classic. As you see my background, you and I upsetting Kansas. That was, I believe, a 9 seed. Maybe you and I was an 8 seed that year. I think they were 9. Not sure. Doesn't matter. I think that could be a situation where the 1 seed's getting upset by the 8 seed here because this Memphis team is dangerous. I mean, they ran with Houston, and Houston is very, very talented. This Memphis team is athletic. I love Memphis. They'll cover the spread by 1 billion.
Yeah, I'm actually right there with you, DJ. I also like Memphis -2.5. They have a sensational guard forward combo. They got that Kendrick Davis averaging 22 points per game and 5 assists. They have DeAndre Williams at forward averaging 17.8 points per game and 8 rebounds. I mean, that's a phenomenal 1-2 combination. That's going to be tough for any team to stop. Now, Florida Atlantic is 30-3. Obviously, they're one of the best against the spread in the country. I completely understand that, but I looked it up. The only team that Florida Atlantic that has played that is in March Madness right now is Northern Kentucky, who's a 16 seed on the other side of the bracket. So every team they've played outside of them isn't even in March Madness right now, which makes me worried about that. I like it. I'm right there with you, DJ. I think they cover this pretty handily there. I also like Memphis -2.5.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think this is one that it's a little weird for me to say this, but I'm going to say it, and I could get some slack for it. But this is kind of a big game for Penny Hardaway as the head coach there for Memphis, and it's because Memphis hired him to be like the guy. Like he is the guy for Memphis. And if he can't win this first round game, there's going to be questions. Obviously, a 26-8 season, you think, how can you do that? Well, Memphis, their standards are, Memphis basketball, their standards are Husker football standards, where it's like, we don't want 10 wins and then, nothing in a conference championship and then nothing, football. It's different than basketball when it comes to that. But like if Memphis loses to Florida Atlantic in the first round, yeah, Memphis has those recruits coming in, but it's like, what is Hardaway doing with these recruits? Is he doing what he needs to do to have them successful in tournament play? So I think his guys are going to really play for him here in this one. You mentioned Florida Atlantic really not playing anybody this year, so I think I'd go with Memphis here, and that sets up a heck of a game. Maybe my second favorite second round game. We'll get to more later on. I think there's a second round game that could be the game of the tournament later on, and a little bit of a teaser there for you. But Memphis and Purdue could be a lot of fun.
People forget Memphis used to be an absolute powerhouse. Derrick Rose days, dude,
Yep.
They were good every year.
And that's all they had at that point. I mean, their football team was a little bit it was horrible back then. They got a little bit better like the last couple of years, or a few years ago. It was, the joke was that Memphis football, it's no longer a basketball school, but it's still a basketball school, and he's got to show that they're someone to be reckoned with here. And it starts with Florida Atlantic.
Wasn't that Memphis team way back in the day? Wasn't Calipari coaching that team?
I think so. I think he had Derrick Rose. I'm pretty sure. And that's when he left, when Derrick Rose left.
I guess that was 09 though, wasn't it? 09 was that Derrick Rose season.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
So, or maybe it was 08. It was 08 actually. It was 08-09 was the Derrick Rose season. So yeah, I think you're right, Kyle.
Yeah, just something.
Fun fact for you guys: the 08-09 season was the only year that all 4 1 seeds made the Final Four. I believe it was UCLA, Memphis, maybe Duke. I think it was North Carolina, Michigan State, actually. Maybe Duke. I don't know. I don't even know what they are. But I know it was UCLA and Memphis for sure. And North Carolina,
In
obviously.
Kansas.
It was Kansas. That a boy, Kyle.
Kansas won that year.
Yeah. And then the next year they got bounced in the second round.
Correct.
By the boys. Purple and gold.
Right,
Gang,
right
gang.
behind you.
Yes, sir.
I love it. All right, let's move on to the 5-12 matchup between the 5-seeded Duke Blue Devils and the 12-seed Oral Roberts Golden Eagles. That game being played Thursday, March 16th at 6:10 p.m. Central Time on CBS. Duke finished 25-8 overall, 14-6 in the conference. They won the ACC conference tournament to get the automatic bid, defeating the top-seeded Miami and the second-seed Virginia to get that automatic bid. Meanwhile, Oral Roberts finished the regular season 30-4 overall, 18-0 in the conference. They won the Summit League regular season and conference tournament to get the automatic bid. Oral Roberts was the only team in all of college basketball to finish the conference undefeated. Line right now, we have Duke minus 6.5 and an over-under of 145.5. I wish I could place a bet on what I think DJ is going to choose here, because I think I know the route that he's going to go here. But nonetheless, as far as betting wise, the play I really like is the over. I think the over of 145.5 is absolutely the play. As far as Duke goes, Kyle Filipowski's playing phenomenal basketball as of late. He started out the season kind of iffy, but as of late, he's turned into a phenomenal player. 15 points per game, 9 rebounds. Jeremy Roach was hurt for part of the season, which kind of was their downfall. Once he returned, they've been playing really, really solid basketball. And how can you not talk about Max Abmas from Oral Roberts? I mean, the dude's averaging 22 points, 37.7% from the three-point line. Forward Connor Bonover. Wow, words are tough today. He was averaging 13 points per game and 3.2 blocks per game. He was second in all of college basketball in blocks per game. So they have Abmas and that Vanover. I like the over a lot in this game. I think if I had to do a bet for this game as far as a spread, I like Oral Roberts. I think Duke's going to keep it very, very close. I haven't fully locked in who I think is going to win this game as far as my bracket goes. But I think as far as betting wise, the over is the play, as well as Oral Roberts plus 6.5.
Yeah, this is one that looking at it before Selection Sunday, I saw Oral Roberts and I was like, that's our team. That's the team that is going to be able to kind of make a little bit of a run here. This is the year that we get, one of the mid-major schools to kind of explode onto the scene. It's been a very odd season all the way throughout, but they drew Duke. And looking at Duke, I love Kyle Filipowski. He is one of my favorite players to watch in college basketball. This is a little bit of a year we've talked about, or I've seen a lot of people talk about it, but I feel the same way. It's kind of a little bit of a watered down year when it comes to stars in college basketball. We used to have teams like Duke who had 3-4 NBA guys who, no matter when they were on TV, you had to watch them. There's not a whole lot of guys like that this year. Duke, I think, is a sneaky team like that. Like I said, Kyle Filipowski is a guy that I think every big man in the country, high school to lower level college, should watch and learn from. He does it all for Duke. I've got Duke in this game beating Oral Roberts. I think I would take 6.5. I think Duke is just on one of those rolls. A lot of people are doubting him this year, which is something that they haven't, had to deal with in a while. A lot of people high on Oral Roberts. I was high on Oral Roberts, but I think Duke comes away with the win, and I think I'd bet minus 6.5 just to, say that if they're going to win, they're going to win big.
Polk, I'm going to charge you for plagiarism because that's exactly how I feel. You nailed that. Exactly my thoughts. Maybe I'm plagiarizing. I don't know. Someone is. I thought Oral Roberts kind of got screwed. They went undefeated in their conference, and the best they get is a 12 seed. Like, the Summit is no joke. I'm not saying the Summit's as talented or as athletic, but those teams are good. Like, those teams are fundamental and they're good. To go undefeated, that's a gauntlet right there. And the best you get is a 12 seed. Like, they couldn't get an 8 or even a 7 or a 10 or like, I feel bad for Oral Roberts. They had the worst draw possible. Initially, when I saw this, I was like, Duke has a massive size advantage. Do a little more research. I realized Oral Roberts has got this center who's like 7'5". So I did some more research. their next tallest guy that gets minutes is 6'7". So when that dude's not on the floor, which, as you guys know, 7'5" dudes don't have the tank to go all game long. He's going to need a rest. That is where I think Duke strikes, because Duke has the Filipowski, who's just an all-around star. And then they have my favorite player, the only player I actually like. His name's Derek Lively. He's a 7'1" freshman. He set the all-time block record in a North Carolina Duke game by blocking North Carolina like 9 times. And I thought at halftime North Carolina would make an adjustment maybe and not go at him. No, they just kept getting blocked. And I was like, okay, well, we're just going to lose. Like, we haven't decided to do a pull-up mid-range because we cannot go at the rim. Duke has a size advantage on them, regardless of their 7'5" center. And I think Duke runs away with this. It's really a bad draw for Oral Roberts, and Duke is playing well at the right time. They really started off pretty sloppy, but they were a super young team, new coach, a lot of things going on. And this team, they're peaking at the right time. There are teams that peak in the middle of the season. There are teams that peak at the wrong time. It's all about, in college basketball, getting your team to peak at the right time. And Duke is doing that. I think Duke has a chance to make a massive run in this tournament because they have the talent, they have the size, they have the skill, they have the guard play, they have the bigs. Like, they really have it all. Their only real downside is they can't shoot the three that well. But when you have 2 7-foot guys running up the 4 and the 5 position, it's a deadly combo, deadly duo. I love Duke here. I think Duke kind of wipes Oral Roberts, and I hate it because I wanted to run with Oral Roberts. I thought they were going to be the Cinderella. I was like, no one knows about Oral Roberts, even though everyone knows about him. Nonetheless, it's all Duke.
Actually, one thing I was thinking about too before we go on to the next game. So I paid attention last year to kind of the ESPN Top 100 for high school players. So that Lively DJ was actually the number 3 overall. They had that Derek Whitehead, who was the top recruits. They have the 1 and the 3, and Filipowski was, I believe, like 9 or 10. So they had 3 top 10 recruits. Filipowski, according to that rankings, was supposed to be the worst of the 3, and he's played the best out of all of them. He's playing phenomenal basketball right now, like Polk said, and I think that's just alluded to, like, sometimes, like, you can be ranked wherever, but that's not a justification for how you're going to finish, because Filipowski is playing really, really good basketball right now.
Yeah, and he plays a completely different game than Lively plays, which is why they work so well together. Lively is your rebounding rim protector. Like, he's just a lunch or a hard hat and a lunch pail type of guy that's going to go to work. I really do like this Duke team. I think they're dangerous. I think if they can, this is the big thing. If they can get past Oral Roberts, this Duke team will go far. That's my prediction. My bold prediction. If Duke gets out of the first round, they are one of the most dangerous teams in the tournament.
Yeah, and it could be a great test for them. You mentioned that 7'5" guy for Oral Roberts or whatever, who isn't as good as Zach Edey, but it is a chance for Duke here to kind of test themselves against Oral Roberts. If they can find a lineup that works, which I think would be maybe Filipowski at the 5, go small around Filipowski, have Filipowski stretch the floor a little bit with that 7'5" guy, because Filipowski can shoot the 3, so you can't leave him open outside the 3-point line. If they can find a little bit of a strategy there without showing too much, that's the kind of the game you got to play, though, because you don't want to show Purdue your cards, but you also want to do whatever you got to do to win, because you can't leave anything on the table. It's March Madness. Oral Roberts has a chance to get the upset, but it's a great test for Duke. Like you said, if they win here, they've got Purdue next, which is a fantastic game. Or they got Memphis next. And wait, who is it? No, Tennessee or Louisiana. That's the next one.
Correct. Yeah.
They have a chance to eventually run into Duke in the Sweet 16 if they get that far. But like we were talking about, it's a chance here to kind of have a little bit of a test with Oral Roberts, who we've already covered. It sucks. It sucks for them that they're a 12 seed. It's unfortunate. And not only a 12 seed, because you could argue, 12-5 is the kind of, it's the seed that always wins, but you never want to run into Duke in the first round, no matter what seed they are.
Absolutely. Nope. Well said, gentlemen. All right, let's move on to the 4-13 matchup. We have the number 4 seed Tennessee Volunteers taking on the 13th seed Louisiana Raging Cajuns. That game being played Thursday, March 16th at 8:40 p.m. Central Time on CBS. Tennessee finished the regular season 23-10, 11-7 in the SEC. They have quality wins over Kansas, Texas, and Alabama. Meanwhile, Louisiana finished the regular season 26-7, 13-5 in the Sun Belt. They won the Sun Belt Conference tournament to get the automatic bid. Line right now, we have Tennessee minus 10.5 and an over-under of 138.5. Polk, start us off for this game.
Tennessee was a fun team at the start of the year. I think a lot of people saw Tennessee play and thought, oh man, this team is going to be one that's going to be fun to watch in March. They are a 4 seed. They've kind of fallen off a little bit the last month or so. A lot of people had them as title contenders, and then now as we start, a lot of people are falling off of them, not liking them as much. I don't love Tennessee, and I don't know if that's, me kind of listening to the masses. I've only seen them play once, I think, and they just didn't look great. Minus 10.5 is a lot of points. I think I go Louisiana plus 10.5 here, and Tennessee kind of still struggles. I think maybe they still win the game, but I think it's closer than a 10-point game. I'll go Louisiana, but I think Tennessee will still win.
Spot on. I 100% agree with you. I'm not a numbers guy like Kyle, but I got some numbers here for you. Rick Barnes, the head coach of Tennessee, 19-31-1 against the spread in the NCAA tournament. This dude does not cover in the NCAA tournament. He's 2-6 with Tennessee in the tournament. I think Louisiana covers, and I think Louisiana has a chance to win. Tennessee, when they had their stars, Zakiya Ziegler, they were really good. They were fun. They started out the season hot. This is when I talk about peaking at the wrong time. They started out 19-4. They peaked right then. Since then, they ended the season going 4-6. That's not how you want to enter the tournament. You want to get a couple losses at the end of the year to kind of humble yourself and get yourself ready to go. Like, hey, this is what losing feels like. But you don't want to go 4-6. You don't want to do that. Tennessee's playing their worst ball right now. And obviously, losing your best player hurts a ton. But I love Louisiana to cover, and I think they have a potential to upset here. I do like this. If you're doing an upset and you want an upset, I do think Louisiana has a very solid chance. I think they've won 5 or 6 in a row. I think they've won 5 straight by double digits. Louisiana here. Let's go.
All right, very good. As far as betting goes, I actually don't have a play on the spread as of right now. The play I do like as far as the total, I like the under. Tennessee is one of the best defensive teams in the country. They're allowing only 58 points per game, which is 3rd in the entire country. They're 13-19-1 this year at covering the over, so they're a very, very poor over team because of that good defense. So I like the under there. And DJ, you said that Louisiana has potential to upset Tennessee. I think Louisiana does upset Tennessee. I actually have them. That is one of my biggest upsets in March Madness. I like Louisiana over Tennessee here. Louisiana has 3 starters averaging double figures. Their go-to guy, Jordan Brown, is averaging almost 20 points and 9 rebounds per game. I think they're a very, very solid team, very underrated team. I think 10.5 is a crazy, ridiculous line. So I think if I did have to go a play there, I would take Louisiana. But like I said, I don't think Louisiana may upset. I think Louisiana does upset. So I'm taking Louisiana over Tennessee. So that is where we are there. So let's move on to the 6-11 matchup between the Kentucky Wildcats and the 11 seed Providence Friars. That game being played Friday, March 17th at 6:10 on CBS. Kentucky finished the regular season 21-11 overall, 12-6 in the conference. They have quality wins over Tennessee, who they swept, by the way, Texas A&M, and Arkansas. On the flip hand, you have Providence finishing the regular season 21-11 overall, 13-7 in the conference. They have quality wins over Marquette, UConn, and Creighton. Line right now, we got Kentucky minus 3.5 and an over-under of 145. DJ, what do you got for this game?
This one's tough. I don't know. Kyle's mentioned it before on this pod that when Sheboy's going, Kentucky's going. Providence, they started a little bit of a hype. They've been, kind of decent these last couple of years. As kind of a big East hater, I think I got to ride Kentucky here. 3.5. Hopefully they cover. I'm not convinced of that. I think Kentucky wins. They're just a more athletic team. I think Sheboy is going to be a lot for Providence to handle. I'll go Kentucky here. Not much knowledge or facts or anything. This one's tough. I really don't know. This is one of the harder ones in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely well said. I kind of had the same thoughts as well. These are two teams that are very, very solid in the rebounding game, both of them within the top 25. Kentucky hauls in 39 rebounds per game. Providence hauls in 38.3. I mean, it's one rebound difference. This is a good rebounding team, but the difference is Providence win games majority of the time because of their ability to get the rebounds. You're going up against the best rebounder in the country. Oscar Tshiebwe is averaging 16.5 points per game, 13.1 rebounds per game. I don't think they're going to win the rebounding game. And when they don't win the rebounding game, they don't win the game overall. Yeah, I've said it a million times, DJ, and I'm going to say it again. If Tshiebwe is playing bad, Kentucky has zero shot, but I don't think Tshiebwe is going to have a bad game. I think he's going to play really, really well. I'm with you, DJ. I also like Kentucky minus 3.5 and to win.
Yeah, I'm on the same boat as you guys. This is kind of one of those. It feels weird to say that it's not chalk to pick Kentucky because this is one of the games that a lot of people are looking at as Providence being able to upset Kentucky and move on. But I just think Kentucky has had a very difficult year this year. One that's a little bit. It's weird to say they're 21-11, like a lot of teams would kill for a record like that. But they've underperformed a little bit this year from what they thought they were going to have, especially with Tshiebwe there. But I think they do make a statement here against Providence in this first round game and get the win. I'd take them minus 3.5 as well.
All right, very good. Yeah, we're kind of on the same wavelength here, this corner of the bracket, gentlemen. We couldn't agree with each other at all on the top, and now we're kind of on the same wavelength. So we'll see, I guess. But let's move on. We got the 3-14 matchup between the 3-seeded Kansas State Wildcats and the 14th seed Montana State Bobcats. That game being played Friday, March 17th at 8:40 p.m. Central Time on CBS. Kansas State finished the regular season 23-9 overall, 11-7 in the conference. They have quality wins over Texas, Kansas, and Baylor in the Big 12. Meanwhile, Montana State, they won the Big Sky Conference tournament, received the automatic bid. They finished the regular season 25-9 overall, 15-3 in the conference. Line right now, Kansas State minus 8.5 and an over-under of 138.5. Polk, start us off for this game.
Kansas State is really good at basketball. I saw their first or one of the first few games they played Nebraska, and I was going into it thinking, this is kind of the one game that Nebraska can kind of win here early on in the season, and I'll start to get a little bit of excited about it. And Kansas State just destroyed us, and it was like, oh man, like they are legit. They are a very good ball club. 3 seed, obviously coming out of the Big 12. Those 9 losses aren't anything to really, shake your head at or worry about because the Big 12 is a really good conference. I think they get the win here. I think they get it by more than 8.5. I'm riding Kansas State here in the first round against Montana State.
TCB, taking care of business. That's what Kansas State's going to do in this first round. They didn't end the season like they wanted to, but as Polk mentioned, this is a good squad. This is, one of the better teams in the Big 12. Big 12 is one of the best. No, it is the best conference in basketball this season for sure. Montana State just lacks the athletes. Big Sky Conference, you're just not drawing the same athletes that you draw in the Big 12. I think Kansas State takes care of business early and often in this game and gets it done, covers the spread easily. Now, if the spread's closer to 15, maybe I lean Montana State, but under 10, I will take Kansas State all day.
All right, well, I don't like how much we've been agreeing with each other, gentlemen, but I got to ride with Kansas State here. They're averaging 75.5 points per game in a talented Big 12, mind you. In a very talented Big 12, they're averaging that. Montana State, yeah, they're a talented defensive team, only scoring 6-7 points per game, but they're allowing 6-7 points per game in the Big Sky. And the Big Sky is not even on a remote close level to the Big 12. I agree with you guys. 8.5, very, very low. I can see this being more like a Arizona Princeton line. I think 14.5 is kind of perfect for that line, but 8.5, I think Kansas State wins by double digits. So I'm with you guys. I also like Kansas State minus 8.5. That is where we are there. All right, let's move down to the bottom of the bracket. We got the 7-10 matchup between the 7-seeded Michigan State Spartans versus the 10-seed USC Trojans. That game being played Friday, March 17th at 11:15 Central Time on CBS. That's the first March Madness game on Friday. Michigan State finished the regular season 19-12 overall, 11-8 in the Big Ten. They have quality wins over Kentucky, Iowa, and Indiana. On the flip hand, USC finished the regular season 22-10 overall, 14-6 in the conference. They have quality wins over Auburn and Arizona State twice. Line right now, we have Michigan State -2 and an over-under of 137.5. DJ starts off for this game.
This is up there with one of the tougher ones. USC, Pac-12, more athletic, just tails all this time. But I like this Michigan State team. They're long, they're athletic. They got good guard play. My Big Ten bias is taking over here. I'm going Michigan State, but I don't have much confidence in it because this one's tough. The 7-10s are always tough. This one's one of the tougher ones. I'll go Big Ten bias, Michigan State.
Okay, sounds good. As far as betting goes, I like the over in this game of 137.5. Michigan State is a 3-point scoring machine. They're shooting 39.5% as a team from 3-point lane. That's absurd, mind you. And I think that 3-point shooting is gonna be a serious advantage for them. USC, their best player is Memphis transfer Boogie Ellis, who's averaging 18 points per game. He's shooting 39% from three. I think threes are going to fall left and right. I think 137.5 is low. I think each team's going to score about 70 points. I like the over in this game, but I'm with you as well, DJ. If I had to pick a team to move on, I think my Big Ten bias is going to show, and I also like Michigan State to move on.
Boys, I have USC on my bracket. Michigan State, it's crazy to think like you never want to go against a team like Michigan State who has not only like the historic side of things, but also, they've got the experience. They always seem to have seniors that have been there a while, and however you want to say it, but I just feel like USC is going to win this game. Michigan State has had an up and down season, to say the least. You talked about Boogie Ellis. I could see it being, one of those where he just kind of goes crazy in the first round and upsets a Michigan State team. Not much of an upset, but I think I'm going to roll with the Trojans here at +2.
Okay. One of our first differentials in a while in this corner of the bracket, so... But hey, that's all right. All right, let's round out this corner of the bracket with the 2-seed Marquette and the 15-seed Vermont Catamounts. That game being played Friday, March 17th at 1:45 p.m. Central Time on CBS. Marquette finished the regular season 28-6 overall, 17-3 in the conference. They won the Big East regular season and conference tournament to get the automatic bid. Meanwhile, Vermont finished the regular season 23-10 overall, 14-2 in the American East. They won the America East regular season and conference tournament to get the automatic bid. Line right now, Marquette -11 and an over-under of 146. So I know we've been talking quite a bit about Marquette kind of being the in the Big East, down in the Big East, what have you. Marquette's good, man. This is a very, very, very solid team. They're averaging 80.4 points per game. They have 4 starters averaging double digits. Guard play is obviously big for them with Cam Jones and Tyler Kolek. But I think that we've always said guard play wins you games. And I think this guard play is going to get them fairly decently far in the tournament. I think they're going to win by double digits. I think 11 is about the perfect number. So I'm taking Marquette -11 in this game.
Yeah, Kyle, I think you are right on the money there. Marquette, not only a good team, but are playing their best basketball right now, which is very important. How to be playing your best basketball towards the end of the season, headed into tournament play. I think Vermont is just happy to be there. Now, maybe they come into this game thinking, hey, we're happy to be here. We're just going to let things fly. And, maybe anything can happen. It's March Madness, like we, talk about. Anything's possible. But I think once Vermont kind of sees the athleticism and the, kind of speed that Marquette's playing, if Vermont doesn't come out strong, it could get ugly early. I think Marquette minus 11 is a pretty good play, and I think I'm going to take it, and Marquette's going to win the ball game.
Maybe it's the green and gold that have just got my brain razzled, but I love Vermont. I don't know why. I always have. I always do. They seem to perform well. Maybe it's just historical that every time I bet on them in the tournament, they've done well. And I don't know what it is about Marquette. They just haven't done anything. Like, what have you done for me lately? What have they done in the tournament in the last 10 years? I'll wait. The answer is nothing. Like, I honestly don't know. Have they gotten to the Sweet 16?
I don't know.
Their uniforms, tight AF. Their uniforms are cool. I'm not gonna lie. Marquette, the color scheme, the uniforms, sick. I gotta ride Vermont here.
Is Shaka Smart? Is he their head coach? So that's another little ingredient that I throw in there. He does have the experience. Maybe they're a Shaka Smart away from making the run, but who knows?
That you guys are making points that actually make sense, and I'm just spouting nonsense out here. But
March Madness, baby.
Yeah, March Madness.
You don't need anything. Stats and stuff are great, but sometimes it's all about the feel.
Yep. Yeah. So I think Marquette wins for sure. 11 seems a little too much for, really the 10 mark is where I'm choosing this bet. If it's under 10, I'll go Marquette. If it's over 10, I got to go Vermont. This 11 is over 10. So I'm going Vermont here. I think they cover. I think they honestly jump them in the first half a little bit, scare them. And then Marquette comes back, wins easily, but doesn't cover 11.
All right.
You guys mentioned Marquette's a dangerous team. We'll see. I really don't have a good feel on Marquette.
All right. Yeah. Perfect exchange opportunity right there on Better Edge, D. So we might have to make something happen there. So
we're going to have so many bets roll.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Better Edges better be ready for us because we got a lot. We're going to
break the system.
All right, gentlemen. But to round out, put a bow on the East corner of the bracket, let's talk about who we got advancing. I don't think we're going to I think this is the bracket we're going to have maybe some lower seeds advance, but we'll have to see. But Polk, we'll start with you. Who do you got advancing on this corner?
In my final four here in the East, I've got Duke. We talked about Oral Roberts that first round. I think DJ mentioned if they win that first round, they got a chance to go a long ways. I do have Purdue losing in the Sweet 16 to Duke. And I think Duke makes it to the Final Four. Now, I think this is probably there's only four, obviously, but I think this may be the easiest group. Obviously, that's a little bit, a lot of people could disagree. It's up in the air of which ones, maybe the West could contend with being the easier group. But I think it's either Duke or Purdue. Maybe a Kansas State could come out of this East, but I think other than that, it's one of those three. And I've got Duke with not a lot of experience. They got the freshmen, but I think March Madness guys like Filipowski, some guys who play a little bit older than they are, or a little, they have the confidence or what feels like experience. They don't make a whole lot of mistakes, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Duke never makes a whole lot of mistakes. Coach K was one of those guys that, didn't like to make mistakes. Nobody likes to make mistakes, but you know what I mean? Duke's always kind of been one of those more disciplined teams. I think they're very disciplined this year, and I've got them in my Final Four.
Polk, you took the words right out of my mouth. I love Duke. I think Duke runs his division. First thing about it, I don't like the 1 and 2 seeds. Don't like Purdue at all. Hate Marquette. I think Kansas State honestly beats Marquette, and it's Duke versus Kansas State. And then Duke as a 1 or 2 seed, there's a chance they're going to choke. It's a classic Duke thing to do every now and then. But Duke as a 5 seed, now that's a dangerous Duke. That's a Duke that has been through some ups and downs. This is a team that's playing the best they've been playing all year, and it's the perfect time. I think this team has so much confidence with how they're playing, running the ACC tournament, doing what they've done. I love this Duke team, and I think they emerge out of this 5 seed. That's a pretty big upset, a 5 seed running the division. So I do love Duke.
Yeah, we're all kind of on the same wavelength there. I like Duke to go to the Elite Eight, but I actually have Kansas State as my Final Four team. I think they're a very, very talented Kansas State team. Like you, DJ, I don't respect Duke or Marquette here. I do think Marquette loses to Kansas State, and I just think that Kansas State is just a well-rounded team. I think Duke is too, but I think Duke relies a little more heavily on Filipowski and Roach, whereas Kansas State, you got guys everywhere that can score. So I like a Duke, Kansas State Elite Eight, but I actually have Kansas State going to the Final Four. So,
we all have the same or similar Elite Eight. I like that.
Yeah, we're gonna look really stupid when Oral Roberts beats Duke, but that's it is what it is. It's March Madness, baby.
It's so possible too. It's so possible that they blow that first game. But if they don't, we look like the smartest three dudes alive.
yes,
They
we
just
do.
whop Purdue. No, Purdue loses to Memphis. Actually, that's what's going to happen. But all side notes
For sure. All right, well, that's going to put a bow on the east corner of the bracket.